The thing that I want people to think about is what kind of country do we want to live in? Are you being emotionally manipulated in a way that is causing you to hate people, to hate your neighbor? When you allow yourself to get into that emotional position, nefarious characters will push you and lead you down the wrong way. Welcome to Off Code, the show where we ignore the cultural codes and have real and intriguing conversations regarding the Black community and ways we can move forward to human flourishing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Off Code. I am Monique
And I am Kevin Briggins, and we are glad you all are back with us again. We've got a good show today that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in because it's dealing with a topic that is kind of a little touchy and a little um, inflammatory. That's the word I'll use. It's inflammatory.
It's not for sensitive types.
Yeah. And that topic is really Black conservative voices on Black college campuses. And
Oh, because one of these things is not the same.
no, no. And we have recently found out that all skinfolk ain't kinfolk.
Well, some people have been saying that for a long time. When they say lift Black voices, they don't mean all Black voices.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And
Well,
so,
and
yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into this today, just because this is something that is near and dear to us as you know, um, people who would want to reach the next generation, want to reach young Black, college students. And we know we face some hurdles and some challenges with that because we don't hold the right viewpoints.
we don't hold the right viewpoints. And it's not just reaching them politically. Yes, I think that's a great goal. It's great to take them away from that Democratic lie, the Democrat plantation, and all that. But it's also about, how do we go in and reach them with the hope and truth of the gospel, not the Black gospel, not the social justice Jesus gospel, not the gospel of Black liberation theology, but with the true gospel that many would say you and I hold to. That's very white, like it's a
Hmm.
white gospel because it isn't anti-racist in nature. And so how do we have those conversations? How do we talk about marriage and things that are really important in regards to family and success, and yet understand that many of the kids who are on HBCU campuses think that we would be talking white.
Yeah. Um, and it just goes to show like the programming, and we're going to watch a clip, and it's going to be the programming is very obvious as to the Black mindset and um, just kind of how it is really, I don't know, it's just kind of cemented in. It's really hard to break through this particular mindset that is already prejudiced against anything other than the Democrat plantation narrative they've been sold, right?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and they're already it's already built in of don't listen to these people, you know. Instead of listening and engaging and defeating arguments,
Hmm.
their whole thing is, and that's kind of the mark of a cult, right? It is you tell people to close their ears and never listen and don't go around these people. Why don't you just defeat our arguments?
Yeah. Yeah, because it does largely devolve into ad hominem attacks. But instead of talking about this, let's actually look at the clip that you pulled. I think it's a good way to, really
Yeah.
solidify what we're referring to.
Yep.
HBCUs are under attack. We have gotten a lot of popularity from people that just want to come and don't want to see us exist. They don't want to see us thrive. We know a couple of weeks ago that we had a group of bad actors that infiltrated the campus at Tennessee State University. We've had multiple threats where universities have had to shut down. And now it looks like we have another set of actors that are planning to come to HBCU homecomings. What's really crazy about this is they are Black MAGA, and so they are Black people that will be able to blend in to our homecoming crowd. Anybody that has been to an HBCU homecoming knows that it is like a family reunion, and we welcome people. You may not have gone to TSU, and I'm using TSU as an example because that's my alma mater, but guess what? Your family. So these people are looking to come on campus, debate people, and get a reaction when people don't give them what they want. So it's going to be very, very hard. But I say this: ignore them, pay them dust. We don't owe them anything. They are not our people. All skin folks ain't kin folks, okay? Students, don't engage. If we see something, go to security, let them know, and get them off the campus. There is no need for this. We do not need them wandering and messing up our homecoming because an incident happens. I was looking at the group of people, and I want everybody to take a look at them just so you're familiar with these faces. But I was looking and I said, I've seen this girl, Savannah, before. And I think Savannah's the one that got twisted around for running her mouth with the wrong person, and it didn't go over the way that she thought. So yeah, the young lady that turned Savannah every which way but loose, her charges got dropped. Alvin Bragg dropped those charges. And so now it just seems like she is on a tour to get some type of victimization card to say that someone has done something to her. I don't understand the premise of this, but I guess they feel like they are safer because they look like us, and maybe, we will engage with them. I will tell you all, alumni, do not engage with these people. We don't owe them anything. They are Black MAGA. That tells me enough. So I just wanted to put this out. When I saw Savannah's name, I said, I know that girl. I know that girl, and she stirs up mess. I don't know about the other ones, but just FYI, be wary of them, and you know what they're trying to do. HBCUs are under attack. We have gotten a lot of popularity from people that.
All right, Mo. So I got my thoughts, but that was your first time seeing this clip. What is your initial raw reaction?
My initial raw reaction is just the hatred and vitriol and the fear of allowing students to engage with someone who may disagree with them. What if your students are as bright as you claim that they would be, as being someone in leadership at a educational institution? I would assume that you would defend your students and say that they're bright. Why not train them up to be able to defend their positions? No one is coming here to indoctrinate. The goal is to come and to have clear conversation. Like, why do you believe what you believe? Here, let me help you understand what I believe. You don't have to come over and join Team MAGA. This is not about that. This is actually about helping you get to a place that is off of this plantation type of you can't be family, we can't be related, there can be no unity because you don't think like I do. It is a cult mindset. It is you are kicked out if you don't think like I do. And we all have, I mean, especially if you're conservative, we've experienced that. She think white. She acting white because we don't hold to the fact that you should be able to abort your kids if you want to, or that Black people aren't always the victims of every racial incident. Like, because we don't think that police are bad. We are now somehow
Or we
the
don't think Kamala
dangerous.
Harris is great.
We don't, because we don't think she can talk or define our words well. You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden now you a coon, you want Uncle Tom, you a this, that, and the third, and like
Yeah.
all these other things. They got 50, 11 reasons why you can't, have a conversation, or why we should be avoided, why we should be kicked off campus and things like. But what is the culture that's continuously being bred and spread throughout our nation when we look at the Black community? It is this ratchet ghetto culture that
Yep.
says you can't tell me nothing, you can't challenge what I say, this. But the leadership touts this, and
Yeah.
this is where but she got it from her leadership.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and the word that came to my mind was ignorant. She claims she knows these people and she has no idea. The idea that people are coming there to cause a scene. No one is coming there to cause a scene. What
Mhm,
she needs to acknowledge is that they are the ones who act a fool.
mhm,
They're the ones who get overly emotional, and like they did at Tennessee State, at the sight of a MAGA hat or someone with a sign that says, "Prove me wrong,"
mhm,
right? Those students got triggered. No one made them do anything. No one instigated anything with them. They lost their mind because they don't have emotional intelligence, right? And so it's not that anyone is coming there to make a scene. People are coming there to challenge ideas, to have conversations, and to get people to think why they believe what they believe, right? The problem is they can't handle that, you know? And
mhm,
so the fact that she said, call security and get her removed off campus for
Mhm.
what?
Mhm.
What would they be doing outside of having conversations, outside of asking questions, right? And even her description of what happened to Savannah, it shows how ignorant she is. And
Yeah.
just because Alvin Bragg, blackety black, Democrat, corrupt self dropped those charges, doesn't mean that girl shouldn't have been charged and should have went to jail or paid a fine, something, right?
Something, but
She
what's
assaulted
her
her.
name? Oh, Jasmine Crockett say not every criminal commits a crime, or not every
Yeah,
crime committed makes you
because
a criminal.
Savannah, because if you know, and did you watch that clip? Savannah didn't run her mouth to that girl. She was just
Mhm.
asking her questions, and the girl didn't like the question or her stance on abortion, and she punched in the face.
Yeah.
Nobody was running their mouth. Like her whole description of what happened didn't happen. Her whole description of these people and what they do just isn't true. So that's
Yes.
why I thought the word is ignorance because she's operating ignorant. She's making this video like she knows what she's talking about. And I see this so much in the black community. We operate on so much false assumptions and misinformation because we operate out of feelings and not out of facts, right? We don't know what we're talking about, but yet we're so confident that we do. And it's all just based on our intuition and our feelings and how we feel about something or the conversations we have in the barbershop about this or about that. But it's really just rooted in ignorance. And I mean, the true word of ignorance of not knowing.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, she clearly doesn't know what she's talking about in terms of what Black Sick does and what those people do. And so, yeah, just her whole point of call the police, call security and get her removed. They just here to cause trouble. No, no one's there to cause trouble. But if you don't have the emotional intelligence to have a conversation with someone who might have different views than you, that's a you problem,
Mhm.
you
But then
know?
even her attitude of like she turned her every which way but loose. It's like, are you justifying what
She
happened to
is.
Savannah?
She is.
Right?
Because someone she disagrees with politically got punched in the face, and she's okay with that, even though the girl was in complete wrong. 'Cause
Mhm.
so instead of saying she should have been able to have a conversation with her, or just walk away because no one was making her stand there and have that conversation with Savannah, right? But instead of just walking away,
Mhm.
she chose to assault someone just because she didn't like their viewpoint.
Mhm. But if somebody was to go ahead and turn her every which way but loose, then it would be a problem because it was done by the
Yeah,
black MAGA.
yeah, and so
Like it
like,
Yeah.
yeah, and so like the whole black thing goes out the window the minute you aren't in their little clan, right?
Mhm.
The minute you don't hold to all of their little positions. It's just like Winsome Sears in Virginia ran for governor. And what
Mhm.
did we hear the whole time Kamala was running for president? We got to stand by a black woman and all of this type of stuff. But the minute a black woman is running for governor to
Obama
potentially
get
be the
behind the white.
first, not just female governor, but the first black governor of Virginia,
Mhm.
do they come out and say, we got to support her? No.
No.
Barack Obama comes out and supports the white woman who was her competitor because she's a Democrat.
Mhm.
So let's get rid of this whole thing that it has anything to do with being black. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with being black. It's all about do you hold the proper viewpoints, which means are you a Democrat? That's
Mhm.
all it means.
And
You
do you
know?
think leftist? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, I don't know. It's just, and I see the mentality that she expressed in that video. I would say it's the normal, common mentality within the black community, you know?
Yeah.
Because
Or
even her talking about,
especially
but
the younger generation of the black community.
yeah. And even her thing about, we everybody's welcome, we have a good time, and that is true. But only if you fit the right viewpoints.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're not welcome on campus. You fit in because you look like us, but you ain't one of us. They are
Skinfolk and
trapped.
kinfolk.
They are
Mhm.
trapped on the Democrat plantation. They are trapped in this cult mentality and they don't even know it. Because I guarantee if I asked her to define a policy or talk deeply about a particular policy, she can't do it. I guarantee you she can't do it.
It makes me think about something that you said, and I feel like it would sum it up, in this way about being principled. Are we truly principled people? And, if so, how does that show up in our conversations? How does it show up as we live out our daily lives? Being principled would say, yes, the same principles I'm going to hold on this side, I'm going to hold on that side. But instead, it's like we get to do these things, but this side,
Yeah.
this side can't do those things. And if they do these things, then we shut them down. We can be violent with them. We can, make all manner of excuse
Yeah.
and get out of jail free cards for ourselves. But for them, they must be held to the fullest extent of the law. We must, remove them from
Yep.
our universities and places where they are now menacing and things like that.
I know, just kind of double standard because if there was some left wing person that was interviewing people on the street and someone just punched them in the face because they disagreed with them, we wouldn't be sitting here cheering like they got turned every which way. And this is like, no,
Mhm.
that person was wrong for punching
Yeah.
them in the face. They should be charged, right?
Mhm.
You know, but they don't think that way because it's not about principles. It's about, are you on my team? Then I don't care what happens to you. And that's what we're seeing with the left in general is this idea that political violence is okay because if you're if you have an R by your name or you're right wing, then you're a bad person. And so whatever happens to you, you deserved it, you know, whether it's being punched in the face or whether it's being shot in the neck. And that's where we are with the political left is it is very dehumanizing to anyone who just they don't agree with, sadly.
Yeah. And I'm just hoping that, I'm hoping that the right don't take that position.
I pray. Yeah.
I am.
Um, so far, I've had a lot of concerns about the way the right is moving right now in response to the left, but I don't think we've gotten it. I'm
No,
not
I don't
seeing
think we're
that.
there. No,
Yeah,
no,
we're
I'm not
not there
saying that
yet.
yeah, I'm just praying that that isn't the way we go.
Yeah. I understand. I got my concerns, but
Right?
I don't think when that is yeah, it's more still more rhetoric than it is calling for physical violence.
This is also why, for us as believers, and I'm not sure if we said this on last off code or on a family meeting, but, you know, as Christians, being on the right and being a Christian are not necessarily synonymously the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I can be on the right and not be a Christian.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that, our positionality in Christ is the most important thing, regardless of our skin color, and allow that to be what leads us, not the fact that I'm on the right and I see everybody on the left as my enemy.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
am aligned with Christ. I am hidden in Christ, and I am calling anyone who is not in Christ to repentance, to relationship with Jesus. That is where the heart of this really lies.
Mhm. It does. And like I said, because with the Black 16 that was gonna go to campus, I don't know if they're Christians or not, you
Mhm.
know? Um, but yeah, you're right. It boils down to that. But the problem is they're so um they're so against anything you have to say, you
Yeah.
know? Um, because and they lead with politics. I mean, I've talked about on the show before, like
Mhm.
there's nothing more political than the black church. And so I guarantee you that woman, she probably goes to church every Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And I guarantee you a lot of things she's saying and her feelings and her sentiments are expressed in her church on Sundays.
Mhm.
Right. And so there's this tying of faith with blackness. Right. They tie these two things together and they can't be broken apart.
Mhm.
Um, and it just makes it difficult because to be a Christian is to represent blackness and the struggle and that side of the political aisle. But when you just really think about it, and this is what I tell people: look, the New Testament is 2,000 years old. The Old Testament, 3,500 years old. Nothing in there should be lining up with progressivism. Like
Yeah.
it was written a long time ago in a very old culture. If you think it aligns with modern day feminism, if you think it aligns with modern day my body, my choice policies, like
Mhm.
the it's just not going to line up with those things. And that's why we are conservative, because we're trying to conserve what's been given. We're trying to
Mhm.
conserve what already has been, you know. But you're always constantly trying to evolve. You're always constantly changing. You're always constantly progressing, you know. And that's what the Democrat Party does. And that's what these preachers do with the scriptures. They just kind of change them as they go along. You know, there's no, it's kind of like I talk about with the Constitution or with the scriptures, right? It is the idea of originality, right? What was the original intended meaning? And then whatever it meant, that is what it means today. And you don't have the right to change it just because you wanted to say something different, right? That is a conservative position. And that is why, as Orthodox biblical Christians, we end up on the right side of the political aisle, on the conservative side of the aisle, because we are conserving what has been given, right? And if you're just a biblical Christian, you're going to be conservative. And this is the thing, we talk about it a lot. Black people are conservative because a lot of times we were rooted in church, in the Bible, in the scriptures, right? But then we come to our politics, and instead of voting our conservative values, we allow our loyalty to the Democrat Party and our identity being in being Democrats to then make us jump through hoops to justify why we can still vote with that side of the aisle, no matter how far they stray from a biblical worldview, right?
Yeah. Hey, family, it's that time of year again. The Center for Biblical Unity's end of year giving season. Every year, we kick off our giving season with Giving Tuesday. This year, Giving Tuesday is on December 2nd. Giving Tuesday is the Center for Biblical Unity's most significant fundraising opportunity of the year. It's the day we raise the most funds to support vital ministry needs for the upcoming year. Last year, thanks to friends like you, we completed the Center for Biblical Unity's Statement on Race and Racism and had booth presence at 5 conferences across the country where we were able to meet so many of you. This year, we're dreaming even bigger, and we can't do it without you. Prayerfully consider how you can support the Center for Biblical Unity, and then go to centerforbiblicalunity.com and give. Thanks so much, family. I think a lot of this though it goes so far back in history. It goes so far back into um, you know, the political side of the black church, and how did the black church have or black pastors have this dual role in speaking into the community and speaking out against real injustices and things like that. And then some of that even being co-opted in the civil rights movement to be able to push people towards something that was more socialist just in origin. And so, now you want to be considered part of the right side of history or on the right team and things like that. And the black church just gets wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
But I also think that part of what you're describing is what happens when you view the scriptures through the lens of blackness or through the
Yes.
lens of oppression first, because people still see Jesus as the liberator. They still see Jesus as the great Messiah, the one who comes to set the captives free, and all of these things. But yet anyone who does not now stand for my personal freedom as a black person, as defined by the things that black people say we need for our
Hmm.
freedom, well, then they are against me. They are the oppressor. I don't know that all the black pastors or many black pastors have to come in and change the scriptures. I think they read the scriptures, they just read them through the lens of blackness.
Yeah.
And that is where things become very twisted, because the scriptures weren't written through a lens of blackness.
Yeah.
We approach the
And
scriptures with how they were written. Go ahead.
yeah. And their comeback would be, well, you're reading through the lens of whiteness. And it's like, no, because there's a different hermeneutical principle,
Mhm.
right? Their hermeneutical principle is blackness,
Yeah.
right? That's it. Whereas we talk about on the Orthodox side, it is looking at it from a historical perspective. It is looking at it through the culture of in which it was written, right?
Yeah.
The Jewish culture.
Yeah.
It is understanding the original words and the meanings and how that, and understand the original intended meaning, right? And then, and then also the historical position of Christianity, of the church. And so there's a different just hermeneutical standard. And my issue with a lot of like these black pastors in terms of like reading it through a lens of blackness is that blackness didn't exist 2,000 years ago, 3,500 years ago. Like this idea that you can take this blackness lens, which we'll just call it a Marxist lens, because that's what it is, and you think you can read the Bible through that lens and you can get the original intended meaning of what God has written and what he said, you're just going to be all off. And that's why they are so far off, right? And trying to read everything through a lens of oppression, as if oppressed people are righteous and oppressive people are unrighteous, or the rich people are unrighteous and the poor people are righteous. It's like, no, all y'all unrighteous.
Mhm.
All have sinned. It doesn't matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter your social location, and Christ did not come to free the Jews from the Romans. He did not.
Yeah.
They needed a different type of savior. And he was very clear on that. And we have basically gone back and taken it to just being an earthly liberator. We
Mhm.
have made the same mistakes the Jews in Jesus' day made when they rejected Jesus because he wasn't the earthly liberator they wanted, you know? And he kept telling them, no, you need a different type of liberation. You need a different type of water. You'll never thirst again.
Mhm.
This is not about your material needs. I didn't come for that.
Yeah.
um, and so, yeah. And so it's sad to see that when you come in and you're trying to get them to think past what they've been programmed to think, their immediate reaction is to call security on you, to get you removed. Students don't listen to them. Like, no, they should be able to engage in a conversation because that's all it is. If
Mhm.
you ever look at any of these videos, it is conversational. If you look at Charlie Kirk's videos, conversational, asking questions. If you can't handle that, that is a you problem.
I hear you.
No
I
one is
hear you.
coming to start trouble. That is a you problem.
So, Kevin, with that, part of what I want to do is encourage people to consider the conversations that they are having with people. Like, how do we encourage people to listen? How do we encourage people, especially Christians, to, hear out someone else without running to ad hominem attacks? How do we teach young people to think and to be able to spar with their words and to be able to stand, on what is true? And yeah, so that's kind of where,
Mhm.
I am as I'm listening to what you're saying. I listen to the video and things like that. Like, there is a way in which we can dialogue with one another and, still stand and fight for truth.
Yeah. The word I used earlier was emotional intelligence, because this is one thing I've noticed, not just with black Democrats or the black community, but just people on the left in general. They tend to unfriend and cut off people who they disagree with politically. They tend to have a certain derangement syndrome where they just can't even deal with you. They don't even want to see what you post. They don't want to, like, they have an emotional, physical reaction to just being around a different viewpoint. If that is you, you might want to reevaluate where you are, because obviously someone, um I would say there's a good chance that you've been manipulated. You've been emotionally manipulated to feel that way, to cut you off from being able to listen to alternative viewpoints. Because on the flip side, those who are typically on the right typically don't unfriend people,
I
typically
don't
don't
know.
cut.
I was gonna
I,
say this week I have seen a few people who are on the right who were
that's
like,
why I didn't say never. That's why I said typically.
Yeah, because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, we taking a playbook, a
And
piece out of the playbook
we
from the
have
other
talked about
side."
that recently of the
Yeah,
right taking the playbook of the left. Yes. But just in general, from what I've seen, it is typically those on the left who cut off their friends and family who disagree with them. They even make, TikTok videos and Instagram videos talking about it, right? Whereas the political right wing, you might get on my nerves with all your blue sky posting, but I'm not gonna unfriend you. I'm not gonna cut you off just because I don't agree with what you politically,
yeah,
And so I just want people to evaluate that. Do you Is it to the point where you're really cutting off people to where you can't hear any other viewpoint other than ones you agree with? And if you can't, then that's a problem.
mhm.
Um, and in terms
Regardless of
of
what
what
side you on.
Yeah, regardless of what side you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of what something I want people to be thinking about, as we I know you haven't announced it, but as we go on hiatus.
No, yeah,
So
go ahead.
yeah, so for those listening, this is our last episode of the year. If you're familiar with the show, every year around this time, we go on a hiatus through the end of the year, and we pick back up in January. But we kind of want to leave you all with just something to think about um, as we, go on hiatus. And the thing that I want people to think about is what kind of country do we want to live in?
Mm,
And really ask yourself, are you being emotionally manipulated in a way that is causing you to hate people, to hate your neighbor, because I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of
mhm.
that. And when you allow yourself to get into that emotional position, nefarious characters will push you and lead you down the wrong way,
Yeah.
right? And I'm seeing a lot of it. And so I just want people to consider, what kind of country do you want to live in? Are we really to are we ready to say that the great experiment is over?
Mm,
Because that's the way it seems like people are trying to take us
mhm.
down.
Yeah. I would
Um,
al sorry.
yeah. No,
I'm
I
sorry.
say, yeah. So that's what I want people to think about is, what kind of country do you want to live in, and what's going to take for us to get us there? Like, and how does your behavior affect what type of country we're going to have?
Yeah. I would also say, consider what it means to be a believer in this time.
Yeah.
What does the New Testament say about living for Christ? How do we live courageously? How do we live boldly? How do we live humbly? How do we live with compassion? There, all of these things go together. It's not like, oh, I get to choose to be bold today, and tomorrow I'll put on compassion, and the next day I'll put on humility.
Yeah.
No, we live these things out, and albeit imperfectly, but we live them out, you know, in cohesion. And so what does that mean to actually live as a Christ follower? Um, and what does it mean to live as a Christ follower even if you have to walk a road alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just say, it's a reason though, mess around and find out it's not a fruit of the spirit, you know.
Oh, but sometimes I feel
it,
like
it, it,
sometimes
it is, but that's when we get in our flesh. It's not a fruit of the
yes,
spirit. And
it's
some
not.
some people
It's
are
not.
taking it that way in the
Mhm.
name of Christ, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that doesn't mean be a pushover, and that's not what that
Yeah.
means. But
Mhm.
some people out here displaying things that are not a Christ, that are in a Christ-like manner, and
Yeah.
justifying it on the idea of, um, I guess I can say, not being a pushover or fighting. We're gonna fight back, but to fight back just simply means you're just a jerk to everybody. You know.
Yeah. Don't be
And
a
so
jerk
yeah,
to Jesus.
yeah, don't do that. It's not a fruit of the spirit.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a year. It's been well, at least 11 months. It's been good to do this season with you.
Yep, same. I'm looking forward to the next season. I think it's gonna be
2020.
real good. We already got some guests we know we want to have lined up for the first of the year, y'all. So
Yep.
it's gonna be good.
All right, you guys, pray for us. As we close out, I want to encourage you to support the Center for Biblical Unity this Giving Tuesday. This year, Giving Tuesday is the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving, December 2nd, 2025. For more information on our Giving Tuesday campaign and how you can support the ministry of the Center for Biblical Unity, go to centerforbiblicalunity.com/Giving Tuesday. Thanks so much, you guys. Kevin, it's been real. I will see you next year.
Yep. It's been real.